So guess what? Apparently, when you add poison to plants and you eat it, it makes you sick. Apparently, when you spray poison on plants indiscriminately, birds, earthworms, insects, bees, they eat it and it causes them to die. Who would have guessed? I'd like to talk about the rise of a class of pesticides which is known as neonicotinoids. Let me make sure I said that right. Neonicotinoids. Neonics for short. I just wrote an article for benswan.com that you can find there that talks about two recent studies that have come out. One dealing specifically with bird populations in Denmark, and another one which is apparently the most comprehensive study ever done. In the past 5 years, 29 different scientists from 4 different continents studied 800 different studies on the use of these pesticides, and what they found is pretty alarming. They found that not only are the honeybee populations being affected because these pesticides have been linked to messing up their navigational skills, causing the bees to just fly around all crazy and to not be able to pollinate and to eventually die. They also found that it affects earthworms. It affects their ability to tunnel, so the earthworms start tunneling in all kind of crazy directions. The bird population, they speculate and they have correlations that show that the pesticides are getting into the groundwater, animals are drinking the water, and it's also affecting the insect population, which then the birds are going and grabbing the insects and they're either eating themselves or feeding them to their young, which is causing the population to decline. They also found that it affects reptiles, amphibians. Although they couldn't directly say that it affects humans, I mean, it's pretty obvious that if we are eating these crops that are being sprayed with the neonics, then it's likely affecting us. Last year, the European Union ordered a 2-year moratorium ban on the pesticides while they studied them. Companies like Syngenta and Monsanto, who not only produce the genetically modified food that is made to be used with these pesticides, but they also produce the pesticides themselves. So Syngenta is seeking an emergency exemption from the ban, asking the European Union, the UK specifically, to allow them to spray it on a number of crops that they say are going to die without these pesticides. The study specifically warned governments around the world that we need to start bringing down our use of this. We need to start scaling back on this or have outright ban. I'm not for government. I'm not for banning things. I typically try to find solutions that don't involve the use of force and government. Unfortunately though, there are some things that we seem to discover or create that are so dangerous to our world that they literally are killing us and killing off the entire environment. And the scientists warn that these crops, I mean, the bees, all these animals, all these insects, they're highly important to our existence. Albert Einstein is famous for saying that, you know, humans would only last 4 years if the bees died off. Even beyond that, even if these animals were not essential to our survival as humans, it's just a sad thing to think that our existence is causing the death of so many other species. And I don't want to be a collectivist here, because I know that I'm not using these pesticides. I don't know if you are, and I hope that you're choosing to go organic or to grow your own food, pesticide free. But these companies, Syngenta, Monsanto, and the other companies that are involved in this, that are working with governments around the world to push their genetically modified food and to push their pesticides, are causing the death of this planet. Even if I'm against banning substances, there are some things that have been banned in the past that probably saved a lot of lives, DDT being one of them. And the study found the neonics are actually up to 5,000 times stronger and more deadly to the bee population than DDT was, and DDT was banned, I think, in the 70s for all the problems it was causing. One of the most disturbing things they found in the study is that once the neonics are sprayed on the plants and get into the soil and into the water, they metabolize and they break down, and they found that the compounds that are created after the metabolization are actually 10 times stronger than the original chemical itself. Not only is it dangerous because it's being sprayed on our food, and if you're eating that food, that's obviously going to have an effect on you. It's affecting the bee population, the butterfly population, birds, earthworms, reptiles, and all kinds of other animals. But it's going into the ground, it's going into the water, and it's getting stronger, and it's going to stay there. They said that it's a cumulative effect, so over time it's going to build up and build up if they keep spraying this. So what is the solution here? I don't like to bring bad news, I like to bring awareness up, but we have to find a way to get past this. The only thing that I can currently think about, outside of calling for governmental action, is for us to stop feeding this massive biotechnology industrial farming complex. So what does that mean? It means stop buying food that is being sprayed with pesticides. Stop supporting that industry. Start growing your own food. Start supporting community gardens and community farms or independent farmers who don't use pesticides, and spread awareness. Let's go to this corner. Let's go to this corner over here. How you doing?